Decoding data-driven decisions with predictive analytics. Hi, my name is Andy Nathan. I'm a senior sales partner with Beyond Key. I'm joined here today by Nilesh Jalanjal, who's our senior business analyst, and Abhishek Kushwaha, who's our senior technical lead. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Nilesh, and thank you, Abhishek. And also thanks to everyone who's joining us here today. We're really excited to have you on this call and to explore more about how to use predictive analytics in your organization. To get started, we just want to ask you a quick question. Does your organization currently have predictive analytics tools to help your operations? So I'm putting out a poll right now. And let us know, yes, no, or you're not sure. I'll give it about another 10, 15 seconds because I know people are still just settling in. So just let us know. I see a few more people are entering the room. Let us know, yes, no, or you're not sure if your organization uses predictive analytics tools. Okay. I'm going to end this poll. 1 second. Okay, it looks like the majority of people are no. That's okay, not a problem. Right now, just for this webinar today, keep in mind, we're going to go through a lot of information. So if you've never used predictive analytics tools like Power BI, which we're going to talk about today, that's fine. We're going to start with a lot of the basics and benefits to give you some ideas, and then we'll go a little bit more complex as we go. But it'll be a really easy way to be introduced into the topic. With that said, as you can see from the agenda, we have 6 different items that we're going to cover today. First, we want to do a brief introduction before we get started with predictive analytics, giving you an idea of who we are at Beyond Key. Second, we're then going to go over predictive analytics basics and benefits, as I mentioned a few seconds ago. We'll spend about 7 minutes on that. Then we're going to spend about 5 minutes going through different predictive analytics models. And after that, we'll spend another 5 minutes talking about 4 different business application use cases for 4 different organizations and 4 different industries. Fifth, Nilesh will then lead a live applications demo where he will take you step by step, showing you what it looks like to use Power BI and what it could look like for a final user as they continue to go through a dashboard and the reports to get a better understanding of how to use this tool to improve your predictive analytics capabilities. Sixth, Abhishek will then lead a live Q&A session. Now, keep in mind, if you have questions, please don't wait until the end of the webinar. We encourage you to ask questions as we go. So definitely use that Zoom Q&A to ask questions continuously. We want to make sure we're answering your questions. That's how we help you throughout this webinar. That said, let's talk about number 1 for our topic today. Who are we? Beyond Key provides enterprise applications and extended team services, including mobile, AI, machine learning, business intelligence, modern data warehouse, React Meaning Cloud services. We have 2 different divisions underneath Beyond Key. The first one is Beyond Internet, which provides Microsoft 365 services and products, including SharePoint, Power Platform, Dynamics 365, and Azure. The other is Beyond Voice, which provides vision and voice text solutions, including chatbots, NLP, voice transcription, behavioral analysis, and ChatGPT. As an organization, we have over 18 plus years of experience working with over 200 plus global clients on an ongoing basis and over 300 plus team members that we work with around the globe as well. We're recognized globally as one of the top 5 add-in providers on the Microsoft App Source. We're also a Microsoft Solutions partner for a number of different areas, including data and AI Azure, as you can see here. We were also certified as a great place to work for 4 years in a row, and we received our information security management certification for ISO 2701-2013. We received the Gold Stevie 2021 International Business Awards Company of the Year and the Business Awards Titan Award, the Business Awards from Titan Gold winner for 2023. We've also received numerous Most Customer Friendly Company of the Year from Best in Biz. We work with a number of customers across different industries, including but not limited to nonprofit, insurance, retail, construction, finance, energy, automotive, manufacturing, healthcare, real estate, logistics, and facility management. Here are just a few clients we work with around the world right now. In regards to this webinar, please let us know whatever questions that you do have. Please, like I mentioned before, add them to the Zoom Q&A. Abhishek will be monitoring them, so you don't have to wait until the end of the webinar. That said, we will go through those questions at the end of the webinar as well. And we do this for two reasons. One, we know that if you have a question, you might have different learning styles. So it's good to have a visual answer written in front of you, as well as sometimes as a verbal answer as well that you could hear out loud. Secondly, if you have a question, it's very possible someone else has that question. And we want to make sure by the end of the webinar, everyone has the best information possible. Now, that said, by the way, when you do pose a question, if you ask anything with personal information, we don't include that just to make sure we are able to protect your privacy. With that said, let's talk about let's talk about number 2. What is predictive analytics? To talk about predictive analytics, we have to talk about the type of analytics that there are currently available. The first type of analytics is descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics discusses insights that happened into the past. So it's what happened. So let's take a scenario. Let's say you're an e-commerce company. And as an e-commerce company, you sell products online, whether you're selling pet supplies, whether you're selling any other type of product, it doesn't matter. You could be selling books, you could be selling cars, you're selling those products online. In this case, let's say that it's a pet company, they sell 1,000 bags of pet supplies in the last year. So great, we now know you sold 1,000 bags of pet supplies in the last year. That's what happened in the past. Now, predictive analytics understands what can happen in the future. So based on that past data, it looks like this year you could sell 1,500 bags of pet supplies. So let's just call it pet food, would probably be a better way of describing it. And then that's what could happen. What predictive analytics does is it takes that information and gives you a glean into the future. Prescriptive analytics, which we're going to discuss a little bit today, but we're not going to get to it into as far, is the possible outcomes of how to make that better. And a lot of times you need predictive analytics to do this, which is part of the reason why we're focusing first on predictive analytics, but prescriptive is just as important. So now if we know, hey, we're going to sell 1,500 bags of dog food this year, then how do we sell 2,000 bags? How do we make sure that we sell 2,500? What did we do that worked so well in the past year that we could double that or triple that amount? And by taking a look at your results, you're able to then start improving that over time. In terms of why predictive analytics is so important to this process, it's because this is where you start to take a look at all this data and make sure that it makes sense. And there is a lot of data that is being generated every single day around the world. In fact, right now, there are 2.5 quintillion bytes of data that are generated around the world. A lot. In fact, in the last 2 to 3 years alone, 90% of all data ever created in human history has been created by humans. Think about all the books, all the emails, all the media that's been created, the movies, all the magazines. It was nothing compared to what we have done in the last few years in terms of data. Just that simply the idea of extracting all these points of data online as people are communicating generates every single bit of data, and it gets more and more and more and more. So it used to be managers would say, hey, we don't have enough data to understand what's going on. We're missing some information here. Now it's, hey, how do we find the right data? How do we structure it? Because 90% of data is now unstructured. Because every time the systems connect with each other and they create this additional data, a lot of times companies and organizations are not able to keep up with that amount of data. So you need to have a tool to help you structure that data correctly, so you can start to gain what will happen in the future. And that's part of the reason why a lot of leaders are looking at predictive analytics capabilities, because they're like, okay, great. We need tools that could help us understand what happened in the past, see what's going to happen in the future, and take all this data and make sense of it. So what the tool we're going to use today is called Power BI. Power BI is a Microsoft business analytics service that's used by over 90,000 organizations in 185 countries around the world. It's a part of the Power Platform. And the tool helps forecast the future using historical data, sort of what we were talking about, the entire idea of predictive analytics. And you can see here on the right side, there's some charts here. And on the top one where it says hired employees by year, it shows past trends. And then it gives you ideas of what it will look like moving forward in the future. Furthermore, Power BI does this by creating actionable insights. So that way you're also getting a little bit into the prescriptive as well. And you have better ideas of what to do moving forward. You know, with a lot of changes that have been happening in the economy in the last few years, it's hard to know, hey, do we hire employees now? Do we stop? And there's a lot of organizations that have put halts on their hiring because they're just not sure what they should do. They're not sure if they should keep progressing with hiring more employees, if they need to fire more employees. What do we do? How do we handle this correctly so we're keeping as many employees as possible? And then when we grow, we could grow appropriately. Using tools like Power BI could help with these types of problems. So the benefits of using Power BI and predictive analytics is that you have these pre-built dashboards and reports that I just showed you. Those pre-built dashboards and reports make it easy to visualize all of this data right there in front of you. And by visualizing everything, you're able to optimize your processes and performances. So think of it this way. If before you were taking hours to put everything together into an Excel spreadsheet and then maybe turning it into a graph afterwards, now it could automatically send from whatever data source you have into Power BI and turn it into a graph in minutes. And it can be done with live updates, by the way. You don't have to wait a week, a month, a year to see the results. You're seeing the information right now because the data is simplified. It's all handled automatically once it's all set up. And you have to set it up correctly, which is part of the reason why we're here at BeyondKey, because we help make sure that happens. But once that has been achieved, you don't have to put in the same level of effort that you put in before, because all that information and all that data is simplified, and you could avoid the idea of Excel spreadsheet hell, which sometimes does happen if you have rows and rows and data and columns of data. It becomes too much to actually understand the data. At the end of the day, what this is really doing is it's helping executives make educated decisions, because they have the best information in front of them. And the better the information you have, the easier it is to act on that information for your organization. So now that we have an understanding of predictive analytics, let's talk about some of the different models that it uses. So these are AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning models. And in terms of the models, there's 3 different models that generally happen with predictive analytics. The first one is binary, so 1 and 0. 1 being yes, 0 being no. Pretty basic. So if you fill out a form and you put in your name, your email, and then you fill out, yes, I'm interested in this, no, I'm not, it can then track who says yes and no. That's a pretty simple binary model. Another model is classification. So classification, think about going back to education when you went to school. You took different classes. If you were taking a science class, everything for the science class would go in your science folder. Everything for your history class would go in your history folder. It's the same idea with classifying AI and machine models. If you need to classify multiple items, so you're asking people, what country are you from? You put in what country are you from? And they put in the United States, or they put in Canada, or they put in the United Kingdom. That's classifying that information, and it can learn that information over time based on what people are answering. The final model is a regression model. And the regression model is the relationship between two or more different dependent or independent variables. So when we talk about predictive analytics, now that we have an idea of the different models, let's talk about how to use predictive analytics inside of Power BI. Because Power BI has a lot of tools that help make this more powerful. In fact, it automates a lot of this AI machine learning that we were just talking about for the models. So that way you don't have to do all of the work. It's not like you have to sit there and learn how to do artificial intelligence or machine learning. You want the computer to do the work. In the case of Power BI, the software takes on a lot of that roles. Furthermore, it also uses the DAX language or Python. And so DAX, by the way, it's a formula expression language. So basically it helps with like formulas, operators, and values that could help you perform advanced calculations for your systems. So the more you're using Power BI, the more you're able to use those different formulas and values to perform the advanced calculations that you need to understand what you need in the future, what will happen as you move forward, how can we predict it, what's going to happen next. Finally, Power BI also has line chart with forecasting. As the name suggests, you have a line chart that forecasts what happens moving forward. And it sounds pretty basic that I just defined the definition with what it is, but we saw before there was in the HR charts, there was a line, and then it shows as you start going into the future, it starts giving you a wider gap to give you an idea of what the range is for the bottom and the top. And you'll see that a lot of times with line chart forecasting. So think about if you're in manufacturing and you want to know how many widgets can we produce in the next 12 months, it will say, okay, well, you created 100 widgets last year or last month, and you created 200 the month before. So it looks like you're going down, but like maybe it looks like you're on an upward curve. How many, maybe you'll create 1,000, or maybe you'll create 100 in the next 12 months. It'll base it on that information. It starts looking at that past data and gives you a wide range of what could happen. So how does this start to work together when you're looking at these models? We've talked a lot about the different versions. So in terms of the model here, let's say you want to select the training data. Basically, the training data will take a look at the sources of where people found your healthcare organization. Once it does that, it's going to take a look at the different models that you have. Is it binary? Is it regression? Is it classification? What type of model do you need to do? In this case, maybe we're going to choose a classification model because you're talking about different classes of how they found you. Then once you understand this and you have your model, you have your training data, you're going to then train your model to make sure it makes better decisions. At this point, you're going to start iterating it and retraining it and tweaking it to make sure that everything works the way you want it to. Because the first time you have your data and you put everything into a system, no matter how powerful it is, you still have to test it, and it still takes a little time to learn. It's like humans. We don't just automatically are born and then we speak and we can talk. We need time to learn. It's the same thing with the predictive analytics model. It needs time to learn about the data that's been presented with. At this point, the new sales data is entered, and it then applies that data model to all new incoming data that comes into the system. So let's say that there's a new prospect to your healthcare organization. They come in, they found you on Google. You then enter that information. You now have that information in your model, so you know exactly how it should work. And then you could show it through predictive analytics. And this is where the really fun part comes in, because now that everything's set up, you can start making decisions and analyzing that information. Now, a lot of the stuff in the beginning, creating and training your model, tweaking and applying, that takes a little bit of time to set up. But once you have that there, you can analyze this on an ongoing basis. So maybe if in 1 year you have more people coming in from Google, but another year you're having more people coming in from referrals, you can start to look at those trends and make better sales decisions based on that information. So the question is I know we've talked a lot about predictive analytics. What departments do you feel like it could help you with in terms of planning? Are you looking for, and I'm going to open up the poll here. Are you looking for help with sales, marketing, customer service, information technology, operations, fulfillment, finance, accounting, human resources, quality assurance, management? Let us know in the poll. We're just curious to see what people have, what people's answers are here, and get an idea of where you're looking for the most help with predictive analytics. And the poll, so it looks like the biggest answers were for information technology and operations. That is awesome. We definitely have some good applications for that. I'm not going to be, the demo won't cover as much with the information technology. We are going to be sharing more about insurance operations a little bit. So that'll definitely be something we'll be able to get into. I probably wouldn't like to go into just information technology. If you want to share in the Q&A what information you need, we could probably answer that in the Q&A at the end. So let me just have. So with that, and just to go into this more in depth, let's talk about the different use cases of what this looks like for different organizations. So we've talked about the models, we've talked about the basics of predictive analytics. Let's talk about how does this actually work in the real world. So here's some of the use cases of different organizations that we've helped over time. So the first use case is for a healthcare nonprofit in Los Angeles. This organization was having challenges with physician availability. So as you can imagine, making sure that the physicians, who are probably your highest paid staff members, making sure that they're fully booked and getting the most out of their time is very important. This healthcare nonprofit, they are a different fractured reporting system. They leverage Power BI to access large amounts of raw patient data to help with optimizing their appointments. So they're able to track which physicians were available at what times, and then comparing it to what the need was at that time. By doing this, they're able to leverage the model. They're able to leverage the AI to model patient data. So decision makers were able to predict when patients were going to visit in the future and how many physicians were needed on staff. Second use case is for an insurance company in Florida. And this organization was looking to reduce claim costs. So they needed to reduce the claim cost. Simple premise here. How do we do that? Well, Power BI dashboard combined their CRM, their payment, and their support ticket system. By doing this, we were able to predict their growth rate and discover how they could reduce claims and the associated costs in the future by looking at what happened in the past. By studying that information, they had the right information in front of them, so they could say, hey, look, if we're seeing an increase in claims in one area, why are we seeing that, and how can we reduce those claims moving forward? Third use case is for a food distributor in the United Kingdom. And this organization wanted to reduce food waste and increase profits. And to do that, we helped with deliver. So this organization, stepping back a second, the challenge this organization had was they were delivering food during the pandemic, which makes it hard to predict deliveries and reduce food waste so they can maximize profits. And now, in essence, if you have food in your storage container, you can only keep it, or in your fridge, you can only keep it for so long. How do we make sure you distribute it to the right person at the right time and only order enough that what you need, so you're ordering enough to make sure your clients are happy, but also not losing food in the future? Power BI helped them track their numbers here. They looked at the viability based on historical data. So for example, if you noticed in the past year, you needed to deliver 1,000 tomatoes on average to one of your clients, then that's important information to know, because that means that you don't need 10,000 tomatoes in your fridge. You need 1,000 of them. So we help look at that information to make sure they have the exact right number of tomatoes. And by knowing when you're doing the shipments, you can always make sure that you're keeping fresh new shipments on demand as you need them. We were able to analyze this wastage and then determine how much they should load. it really makes a difference in terms of profitability when you have the right amount of supplies, especially in the food industry. The fourth and final use case is for a construction contractor in the United States. And this organization was looking for a 360-degree view of their entire team. So as you can imagine, construction in the United States right now, it's a little bit competitive. There's a lot of people that are vying for the same team members. Plus, you also have to make sure you're keeping the right contractors. It's so hard to find them nowadays. So what they were looking to do is let's look at our current roster. What's our head count? What are the terminations in the past few years? How many job openings do we have across multiple locations? And by looking at that information, Power BI was able to help the company forecast the best practices to keep productive employees within the organization. So if you see a trend where all of a sudden every July people are leaving, the question is, why are they leaving every July? What is causing them to do that? By seeing that information, you can maybe start to understand what happens in July. Is there a big job fair that happens every year? And maybe that means that you need to start doing raises in June or do raises in August to give them incentive to stay. How do you do that? What do you need to do to reduce turnover to maximize profits and productivity? Because you want to keep those experienced employees who deliver more in your organization. So think of it this way. If you have an organization that relies on certain employees, whether it's an electrical contractor or a plumber, you need to make sure you're giving them the right incentive to stay, because it probably takes them less time to start doing their work than a newly trained plumber or electrician who might not know all the ins and outs of the organization as well. So we've gone through a lot of information about predictive analytics in terms of what it is, how it can help your organization, what are the different models of predictive analytics, and we've talked about some different use cases. I'm going to transfer this over to Nilesh, and he's going to help you with going through the demo and taking you step by step on how to use this in your organization, what this could look like. Nilesh?
I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nilesh. As Andy said, I am going to talk you through few examples of dashboard pre-built by BeyondKey. Before we begin, I would like to inform you that the demo I'm about to present is a hypothetical case study specifically prepared for a property and casualty insurance company. However, I understand that we have participants from various domains in this session. Therefore, I kindly request all attendees to consider this demo as an example of how Power BI can be utilized to analyze and assess data as well as perform predictive analysis. I encourage you to relate the concepts and insights presented in this demo to your respective domains, as the principles and techniques can be applied to various industries. While we'll focus on the insurance domain for this particular case study, the underlying methods and visualizations can be adopted to other sectors as well. Thank you for understanding. That being said, let's proceed with the demo. As you can see on the left side of your screen, we have different tabs which are hyperlinked to respective dashboard. For example, if user decides to click on Claims Analysis tab, he will be navigated to respective dashboard. And if you want to go back to home screen, we can quickly click on Home button and you will be redirected to home page. On the right side of your screen, we have different KPI cards representing fields like claim cost, average claim cost, gross written premium, total exposure, and so on. Next, we have the executive summary screen. And executive summary screen dashboard provides you an overview of critical performance indicators for the insurance industry at a high level. By presenting KPIs in a summarized format, executives can quickly assess the overall health of operations. Here, we have 4 dashboards and few important KPI charts from respective areas. The first part of Dashboard is from overview of P&C insurance. Then we have claims analysis. Then we have policy holder analysis. Then predictive analysis. And in front of respective dashboards, we have few important KPIs from these respective areas. Next, let's understand few important KPIs from P&C area. On the top of your screen, we have few important KPI cards like number of policies, assured amount, number of claims, average claim cost, customer satisfaction, loss ratio, and claim cost. On the left-hand side of your screen, we have different filters which are interactive and data interacts as per user selection. For example, from this period drop-down, if I want to see details only for the year of 2022, I can select this and all other visuals will change accordingly. We have also other filters like period, policy status, gender, type of claims. Here we have policy type by claim cost. We can see details for different LOBs, that is line of business, like renters, homeowners, commercial, and auto. Here, these visuals are also interactive. For example, if I want to see details only for renters and that too only for female population, I can click on this and data will change accordingly. If you're talking about this particular KPI, that is key performance indicator, insurers can get insights into the specific claim costs associated with each category. This information helps insurers make informed decisions regarding pricing, risk assessment, and resource allocation for different policy types. Then we have policy number by gender. Here we can see policy ratio by gender. Next, we have claim cost by channel and gender. Here we have different channels like phone, paper, email, web portal, and agent. And we can see figure for respective area. If we move our cursor over this particular area, you'll be able to see what is the channel name, what is the gender, and the claim amount that is associated with your selection. Now we need to understand why claim cost by channel and gender is important. This information allows insurers to identify potential patterns or differences in claim cost based on channel and gender, enabling them to adjust pricing, underwriting practices, risk mitigation strategies accordingly. Next, we have assured amount by type of claim. We have different type of claim here, like business interruptions, liability, medical, property damage. This visual provides insurers with insights into the distribution of coverage amounts across different claim categories. Ultimately, insurers can improve their risk management strategies and enhance customer satisfaction by aligning the assured amount with the specific needs and risks associated with each type of claim. Loss ratios and policies by quarter. By this report, we can analyze relationship between financial performances and the number of policies issued over time. By calculating the loss ratio, which is the ratio of incurred losses to earned premiums, insurers can evaluate their profitability and risk exposure. Additionally, tracking the number of policies issued each year helps insurers understand their business growth and market trends. Here, these visuals are also interactive. If I move my cursor over this particular selection, I'll be able to see what is the loss ratio, how many policies were sold, and what is the earliest claim date. And I can also drill through and drill down in this data. Next, we have claims analysis. Predictive analytics can help streamline the claims process by identifying fraudulent claims and predicting claim severity and duration. By analyzing historical claim data, insurers can identify patterns and indicators of potential fraud, allowing for proactive investigation and prevention. Predictive models can also estimate claim cost and determine optimal settlement amounts. On the left-hand side of your screen, we have brief drop-down for user selection. User can select from available drop-down options like policy type, product, customer name, date, and type of claims. Here as well, all the visuals are interactive. And if I want to see details only for commercial insurers, I can select that and all visuals will change accordingly. Next, we can see top 10 customers by the premium. Next visual, we have top 5 states by claim percentage. Here you can see the highest claim percentage belongs to Texas, followed by Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, and California. This information enables insurers to allocate resources effectively and tailor their strategies to specific regions. Next, we have claim amount by quarter. Here you can see the claim amount for respective quarter. For example, for the quarter of 4 of 2021, the claim amount was 5.7 million. And earliest claim date was 21/10/02. Now we have to understand why we have to analyze this particular key performance indicator. Analyzing the claim amount by quarter allows insurers to identify any variations or trends in claim severity over time. Insurers can uncover insights into the factors contributing to fluctuations in claim amount, such as weather-related events, changes in economic condition, or specific industry-related factors. Next, we have channel-wise amount analysis. We can see we have different channels here, like web portal, email, agent, paper, and phone. We can see by which channel how much claims are being reported. Understanding the distribution of claim amount across different channels is essential for insurers. By leveraging predictive analytics, we can analyze channel-wise claim amounts and identify patterns or anomalies. This insight helps insurers optimize their channel strategies and improve customer experience. Next, we have loss versus premium. Here we can see the loss data for loss versus premium. If you want to select data only for this particular quarter and only for this particular selection, details on all charts will change according to user selection. Now, we have to understand why loss versus premium is important. Comparing losses to premium is crucial in evaluating insurance companies' financial stability. Here, we see the overtime quarterly comparison of loss versus premium for last 3 years. This comparison allows insurers to assess their risk exposure and make data-driven decisions to maintain a healthy loss ratio. Here we have a policyholder analysis. On the left-hand side of your screen, we have different selections for users like policy status, state, policy type, date, and age group. If we are selecting policy type, and if I want to select data only for auto, the data will interact accordingly. Here we have customers by policy type. Here we can see how many policies are in active status, in pending status, as well as in active status. So by analyzing these visuals, the insurers can see how many policies are in pending status, and they can take corrective actions to ensure that these policies can be moved from pending to active status. That same applies to inactive policies, as they can analyze inactive policies and find out the root cause behind why the status for this particular policies is inactive, and what can be done to move those policies into active status. Next, we have total expenses and policy renewal rate by risk factors. Here we have different risk factors like demographic, behavioral, environmental, financial, operational, and health. If you move your cursor over here, you will be able to see for demographic risk factor, what is the gender ratio and what are the expenses as well. By understanding the total expenses and policy renewal rate by risk factors, insurers can develop targeted strategies to manage expenses and retain policyholders. They can identify risk factors that have a significant impact on both expenses and policyholder behavior. enabling them to tailor their offerings, pricing, and retention initiatives based on specific risk profile. Next, we have claim amount by status. We can see the amount by different status like denied, paid, waiting, paid partial, received, and pending. Understanding the claim amount by status allows insurers to assess the risk exposure and financial implications associated with different policy statuses. Next, we have claim frequency rate by channel. Here we can see we have different channels like paper, phone, web portal, email, and agent. And if I want to see details only for web portal, I can select this particular selection from the pie chart, and all other visuals will change accordingly. This particular visual provides insurers with insights into the distribution of claim submission across different channels. Next, we have customer by age group. We can see how many customers are in this particular age group, like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so on. This particular analysis can help insurers understand the distribution and characteristic of their customer segment based on age. By understanding their customer base by age group, insurers can effectively segment their target market, personalize their offerings, and improve customer satisfaction by addressing the unique needs and preferences of each age demographic. It also enables insurers to adopt their digital capabilities, customer service processes, and channels offering to meet the evolving needs and preferences of policyholders in this digital landscape. Next, we have predictive analysis dashboard. On the very top of your screen, we have a brief card showing different important KPIs like retention rate, risk score distribution, claim severity, incurred losses, total expenses, and combined ratio. Mentioned key factors are some of the important KPIs from insurance industry. Analysis can be done across different product lines, allowing insurers to identify trends, patterns, and factors that contribute to customer chain. By analyzing risk scores, insurers can understand the distribution across various risk factors such as age, occupation, location, and more. If you're talking particularly about claim severity is a crucial metric in insurance, measuring the average cost per claim. This analysis helps insurers understand the drivers of claim costs, identify areas for improvement in claim handling process, and implement strategies to manage and mitigate costs effectively. Next, we have combined ratio by policy type. Here we can see different policy types like renters, homeowners, auto, and commercial. We use this KPI to analyze the overall probability of underwriting activities. Here we can see the combined ratio for different LOBs. By analyzing these details, insurers, by analyzing these details, it enables insurers to identify profitable segments and take necessary actions to improve their performance. For example, by analyzing this particular visual, you can understand that specifically renters line of business is not performing up to the expectations, so they can take certain measures to ensure that it's up to their expectation. Next, we have risk score distribution by transition type. Here we can see risk score distribution based on endorsement, reinstatement, correction, and cancellation. So if I want to see details only for this particular risk factor and male population, I can click on this particular selection and all details will change according to selection. Next, we have retention rate by policy type. So retention rate is nothing but how insurance company track how many customers are being with them, or how many customers are changing to another insurers. So here we can see homeowners is at this percent, auto is at this percent and renters it at this percent. So this chart provides insights into the effectiveness of their customer retention strategies across different insurance product lines. Next, we have risk score distribution by risk factors. Here we can see distribution of risk factors across different segments like demographic, behavioral, environmental, financial, operational, and health. Understanding the risk score distribution by risk factors help insurers assess the impact of different variables on the overall risk profile of their policyholder. It allows insurers to identify high-risk individuals on or groups based on specific risk factors, enabling them to customize underwriting practices, pricing models, and risk mitigation strategies accordingly. Next, we have incurred losses by business type and policy status. We can see different business types here like corporation, individual, limited partnership, and trust. User can evaluate the total amount of incurred losses associated with various business types like corporation, individual, limited partnership, and trust. It enables insurers to identify which business types or policy statuses are more prone to losses, allowing them to refine their underwriting practices, pricing models, and risk mitigation strategies accordingly. Next, we have total expenses by policy type. Here we have renters, homeowners, and auto. If I want to see details only for renters, I can select this particular bar and the visuals will change accordingly. So understanding the total expenses by product helps insurers assess the profitability and cost effectiveness of different product lines. It enables insurers to identify which product incur higher expenses and evaluate the factors contributing to those costs. So those factors can be claims processing, customer services, marketing, or administrative overhead. So that's it from my end. Over to Andrew. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nilesh. And let me just share my screen. I see we do have a few questions that have come in. Does anyone, if anyone still has some questions, please let us know. With that said, Abhishek, you ready to answer the first question? Abhishek?
Yeah.
Okay. First question I'm seeing here, someone's asking, they're trying to understand the advantage of Power BI over other platforms for predictive analytics.
Yeah. So so advantage of the Power BI is that means actually it is a cost efficient, and normally if you are using some other platform, so you have to be pay a lot because if your data is too much from the higher side, so their data processing unit would be high. But in case of the Power BI, it could be provided the 3 data model with the AI ML feature inbuilt into the Power BI with the low amount of cost like $10 or $20 per user license. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then another question: how do we determine which model works best for our specific needs? Person's asking.
Yeah, yes, that is a very good question. That actually it's all based on your requirement. If we are suppose you are choosing the regression algorithm, so that could be used to the prediction of the continuous KPIs like price, salary, age, and etc. If you are choosing the classification algorithms or binary algorithm, so it could be predict the discrete values like male or female, true or false, that mail should be going in a spawn folder or not. So that type of things you can measure through that models. Yeah.
Okay. And then they looks like they had a follow-up question. What prep work can we do in advance to help with modeling the data then?
Yeah. So the preparation work to that thing. So there would be the different stages of the data, with the data processing into the into the uh, into the Power BI itself. Like that, you have to be first remove the data, clean that data, complete the incompletion of that data. You also have to be group that data based on your KPIs. Yeah, so all that things would be there before you are going for the prediction or preparing some model.
Okay. By the way, I'm seeing two more questions. I didn't see a ton of questions today. That's okay. So if you do have any questions, let us know before we're done. So I'm gonna just go through the otherwise I'm just gonna go through these last two questions. So first question is, my firm wants to measure fixed costs to lower them for this year in 2024. However, we use a multitude of software programs with different data criteria. How do we make sure that all the data works together?
Yeah. So yes, so Power BI already having the feature to create the data model, a common data model itself. So so you can prepare the common data model, and what you can do if you are means if your data is too large, so you have to be prepare that data model into your the data warehouse. So data warehouse is that place you can just connect the different sources, and you have to be just get the data from the different sources and get it together, prepare uh, hence prepare the relational data model over there, and you have to be work on your KPIs and go for the predictive analytics.
Okay, cool. And then so final question here. How can we use the trends to improve operations? We want to implement a predictive analytics project for an upcoming project, but are unsure the best ways to measure our operations.
Yeah, so means uses of trends would always be the good for the prediction. Means most of the KPIs which would be directly affecting your business would be always related to the trends or the regression model. So you can just find out that KPI which would be affecting your operations directly, like how much raw material you want, or uh, how much people would means how much person you want to hire to achieve your target. So so to predict all that things, you have to be use that trend chart, and in case of the in case of the Power BI, it, it may be use the inbuilt AI ML model. So that could be give you the correct forecast about the near future.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Are you okay? One more question just came in. Are you okay? Answering one more question?
Yeah.
Cool. So this seems like a lot of work to maintain. How many hours are required on average to leverage predictive analytics on an ongoing basis?
Yeah. So so yeah, means it's actually based on your requirement. It is it is it is actually based on the data which you are refreshing, uh, which you are refreshing on the daily basis. Suppose your data would be refreshed on the monthly or the weekly basis. So at that time you have to be need to be rebuild that model. Okay. So if your data is refreshing on the daily basis, and it could be affect your charts and graphs, so you required someone which would be build the model on the daily basis. And if your data is weekly or monthly basis would be refreshed, so that could be means that cost would be low for that, if we can say that a maintenance cost uh, of that work.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Abhishek. So
Thank you.
appreciate everyone for their questions. Those were great. And with that said, let's let's just wrapping it up. I just want to give you guys one final recommendation here. I know there's a lot of information to take a look at. So if you're taking a look at all this information, like, hey, how do I decode predictive analytics in your own business? You don't have to do it alone. Schedule a free 1-hour consultation with our team, and we can help you better understand how to use predictive analytics for your specific needs. This is a 1-hour webinar. We did as much as we can and covered a lot of great information. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for more information specific to your organization, reach out to us, contact us at contact@beyondkey.com. I just put the email address into the chat. So please feel free to copy it before you leave and reach out to us and let us know how we could help you with predictive analytics and leveraging Power BI. Whatever type of variation that you're looking for, we're here to help you so you could make better decisions moving forward. Thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed the webinar today. Have a great day and a better week.